to M Cafe. Are you going to love this recipe? Okay, this recipe is going to be absolutely some of the men's favorite recipe of all. The reason why I know this is because it's my husband's favorite. This is an exciting recipe because we went to Branson, Missouri. And while we were in Branson, Missouri, we went to a little place you may have heard of called Silver Dollar City. Well, while we were walking around, the kids were having a great time. My husband suddenly got diverted over to a little kind of house that was selling some really good smelling succotash. I walked over there and he looked like a little kid in front of a magic show or something. Big eyes, and he was smelling it. Finally I looked at him and he comes away with 2 big bowls of succotash. Not for me, for him. And he ate every bit of it. I got to taste it, and I've got to tell you, it was delicious. Well, I wanted to figure out, if it's delicious, could we make it M-licious? And as you know, all the EMwomen recipes that we provide for you, we try to make them 10 grams of fat or less. And by doing that, we're giving you healthier options to great tasting recipes. If you have a recipe that you'd like us to kind of try to crack the whip on and bring it below 10 grams of fat, send it to us at EMwomen.com or info@EMwomen.com. So let me introduce you to the now extraordinary succotash maker, Denise Garrick. She is a true M Cafe success story. And I know that you started at 330 pounds. Mm-hmm. The goal is to lose 170 pounds. In 8 weeks, she's lost 45. Get ready, because we're proving M Cafe live and in person with Denise. Well, I'm excited because this is a great recipe. It's called succotash, and here's what your ingredients are. First off, you need to have a package of frozen sliced yellow squash. You need a package of chicken breasts, which we're going to boil, and we're going to go ahead and pre-cook those. You need 1 onion. Go ahead and chop that onion up. A package of super sweet corn, as well as 1 package of breaded cut okra. Now, you're also going to have a couple of spices. You're going to use, or you're going to have garlic powder, and you're also going to have a spice called orange pepper. Now, we can make orange pepper available to you through M Cafe. Let us know, or you can go to your recipe, or to your grocery store and find it there at your grocery store. But orange pepper is what you're looking for, because that's going to give the flavor without having to add the fat. The other thing you're going to need, of course, is your parquet. I think it's butter, but it's not butter spray. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to boil up this chicken, and you're going to place that in water. And while that is boiling, we're going to go ahead and saute our onions in a large pan about this size. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and coat the bottom of that pan with some cooking spray or some of that parquet spray. And then you're going to put your onions in there, just like that. Okay, so while we grill the onions there with some of that butter spray, which is going to give you that buttery flavor, Denise, go ahead and put that chicken on, and we're going to let that boil. While this sautés, we're going to let these get nice and soft. And then we're going to set these onions aside while we cook the okra. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to set these aside. And in the same pan, we're going to begin to cook our okra. Now, what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've preheated the oven to 400 degrees because we are going to do a little bit of frying of this okra, but not too much, because we don't want to have to use too much oil. So we're going to fry it just a little bit. Again, keep the grams under 10 grams of fat or less, depending upon how much oil you use. Now, we're using olive oil, which is what I always suggest to use. And then what we're going to do in order to finish it off and get it good and crispy, we're going to stick it in the oven. So we're going to start off, just coat the bottom, about half of it, probably be about 2 to 3 tablespoons, maybe 4, and let that heat up real good. Now, it's important when you're doing your okra, you also want to have that butter spray handy, because we want to go ahead and keep that okra nice and moist as we're cooking it. So Denise has got the okra here, and we're going to wait till that heats up just a little bit more. Okay, so we're just going to take and pour the okra in that same pan, and just spread that okra across the bottom of that pan there. And don't be concerned if the breading falls off into the bottom of the pan, because it very well may. But that breadings, we're going to mix it in later on with the succotash. It's going to make it taste really good. So what you want to do is you just want to be able to let that get nice and cooked in there on about medium to high heat. Once it's heated up, you can turn it down just a little bit. And we're going to let that just fry up in there. And all we're going to do is we're basically going to cook the okra, and then we're going to let it actually get a little burnt in the oven. So we're going to let it get nice and browned here. In the meantime, what I've done is I've gone ahead in the microwave and heated up the squash. And that way, what we're going to do is pull that squash out, and we're just going to cut it up into small pieces, and then in a minute we're going to add it back to our recipe. Okay, so while that's frying up, you're going to notice that some of the breading's going to fall off because we're not deep frying it. We're actually just cooking it in a little bit of oil to get it somewhat fried, and then we're going to stick it in the oven. While it's frying, I want you to add garlic powder to it and salt and pepper. I don't put too much pepper because we're going to use orange pepper spice to cook our actual chicken. Okay, so we've taken our okra and we've just put it on a tray. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to stick it in the oven and let it finish cooking in there. And don't be concerned. I actually stuck it the wrong way. Don't be concerned if it actually starts getting a little black on the edges. That's going to give it a lot of good flavor. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the chicken and we're going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. Okay, so we've cut up our chicken. We've got it in the same pan. Now remember, all that bottom of that okra was coated in there that we added the garlic to. We've got the chicken in there, so it's going to start making that chicken to have a really, really great flavor. Okay, we just about got this cooked up. In the meantime, we've had the onions are grilled. We've already cooked the squash. And of course you can use fresh squash if you like. I would suggest it. Being a busy mom and sometimes having to get these in under 10 minutes or less, I do go for the packaged food. But I always suggest fresh if you can do fresh. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the onions. And we're going to mix those onions in there, and then very last we're going to add the corn, and then now we are going to add the corn, and again that's super sweet corn. I have to say it's really nice having you in the kitchen. So that's just been cooking up together, and what's happening is all those flavors are blending in together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add the okra, which should be nice and cooked up good and crispy in the oven. Take the okra out, and you'll see some of these nice crispy little pieces. Just going to scrape that off down in there. That is succotash. We're going to serve it up in a bowl, and it is going to be delicious. Okay, so we're going to let Denise test her own recipe here. This is succotash, again, EMwomen.com. If you want to send us your recipe and let us work on it, see if we can get it 10 grams of fat or less, send it to info@EMwomen.com. Until next time, delicious.